Welcome to Whole Wheat Costa. Tonight at the beer table, we are finishing off this half a case, 12 pack of Yingling Oktoberfest.
It was a whole case initially. I've been
It
drinking it
was,
for a while.
oh, it was a whole
Yeah,
case? Okay. Yeah, we're, next week we're going to start our, I guess, beer of the week.
I gave in. I gave in to the
Yeah, you
idea.
gave in. Mainly because I would not go forward without it.
Yeah.
Eh, um, and I was going to say, oh, then I actually sat down. I started releasing episodes, so we have to upgrade our account so we can release more episodes because we're so far ahead of episodes than releases.
Yeah, podcasts are pretty pricey. So if you're one of the like 53 views we have so far on our 4 videos over the last 3 weeks, there will probably be a Patreon eventually.
Yeah.
So somebody else can pay for all the upload fees.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's other than all the equipment, it's like what $750 a month, but now it has to go up. But I
No,
won't
we're
complain
paying
about that.
we're paying 15 a month too. We're splitting
15.
it.
Oh yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's I think it's pretty interesting actually because like you don't really know what's involved and like I don't know part of what's involved since JD did a lot of the initial setup before like when we were just talking about it. So he bought the initial equipment and stuff, but yeah, you can't just like make a podcast and upload it. You have to upload it to multiple places at once. You have to use some sort of streaming service, and the streaming services cost money.
Right.
And you limit your amount of bandwidth. Like if you were going to do it for free, because there's a free option, right?
No, I don't. I don't believe so.
I thought there was, but it was like ridiculously small. Like you could release like a 10-minute audio clip per month.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. So it's a lot of work. We're working on it. I kind of just winged it all. So this is, I believe, episode 12.
11 or 12.
Yeah, no, it's 12. It's
Okay.
definitely 12, and we're getting way better at
Well, 11 if you don't count our lost episode that where the
it.
recording
Episode
quality
2,
sucked.
which will be a Patreon only.
Yeah.
If we get at least 40 subscribers. And
Yeah.
Well, I wanted because I like wearing T-shirts most of the time. I wanted to make a couple T-shirts, like pay an exorbitant amount of money just to make T-shirts. And Kevin's like, "Well, we should get more subscribers." And I'm like, "Well, how else do we advertise?
I
Because I
think-
walk around everywhere."
I think we should get any subscribe. I think when we get our first subscriber, that's not me, you, or my dad. Then I think we can make T-shirts.
Yeah. What about?
just one? Just the first subscriber.
All right. I'm okay. Fine. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is a lot of people that know me, they're like you're a proto hipster. Like you did all hipster shit before like hipster shit was popular, and
It's like real meta.
yeah, and I did, and I'm like no, I'm not a hipster. Like I started listening to vinyl like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I know I grew a beard. I have a bunch of flannels.
I just grew a beard because I have a double chin. Otherwise,
Yeah,
that was my
me too.
motivation.
Um, um, and it's like I've done all this stuff my entire life that over the last 2 or 3 years has been, I guess, a counterculture coming into the mainstream. And yesterday or the day before, I have officially done my most hipster thing ever.
Mm.
So I'll get to that in a second. But one of my favorite stories of all time is Orpheus and Eurydice. Eurydice?
Uranus.
No, it's a Greek story. Orpheus is a musician from Greek literature, and he was part of Jason and the Argonauts. He's such a good lyre player that the sirens when the Argonaut from Jason and the Argonauts was going down one of the rivers, the sirens were singing, and then he played his lyre, and they like shut up, and people wept. He was a one man band at Jason's wedding. So like he's the world's greatest musician.
I'm just picturing one of these people now that has like the drum and then like they play a little trumpet and they have like they're using their foot for something.
Yeah, no.
Like one of those cartoon things.
He's the world's greatest musician, and then he marries his wife, which I can't pronounce her name.
Remind me to talk about Jim Thorpe when you're done the story.
Okay, so
Hey,
excuse me,
we're real burpy today.
yeah, real burpy. So he finally marries his wife, and then his wife dies. Smited by the gods, whatever. Almost every
Smote.
smote
She's smitten.
smitten. Almost
Smitten in
every fact,
multiple ways.
almost every fact I'm going to say about this is wrong. But anyway, it's one of my favorite stories ever in history, because she dies and he's like, I want to go to Tartarus, and they're like, you can't go to Tartarus, you can't enter Tartarus or hell as a living man, and like he's like, I can. So he's playing his lyre. He played it so sad that everyone wept, and like even the trees swayed with his lyre. So he like pretty much ruined the known world because he was so sad. And someone was like, "Hey, just let's go. Let's go find your wife down there, right?" So he's like, "Okay, cool." So he gets there and he tricks the Cerberus and he gets the boatman. He does all this other stuff, and Hades, he tricks Hades by playing like such a beautiful song. He's like, "Okay, she can follow you back to the land of the living, but if you look back before you reach, she'll never come back." And so they pass all these other things, right? He never looks back. Right at the very last second, he thinks she's out. He looks back, and he can't. She just goes back to Tartarus, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go do it again." And they're like, "No living man can come down twice." And so now he's like weeping again. So there's many other different stories about how he get killed. Like he does something to get killed, or Zeus kills him because like he's making everyone sad. Other stories say he got torn apart by dogs because he angered Cerberus or whatever. So so the thing is, he loved his wife so much that he faced hell to get her back. But
and in the end, it didn't matter.
In the end, it didn't matter. So I was looking for stories.
So I peeked over to look at JD's computer to see if I could figure out the pronunciation, and it just says goat song.
Yeah. So I was looking at stories based off of this guy's story because like I want to read more because it's my favorite story, and I know there's other stories about it. And there's this novelette. It's called Goat Song by an American writer, Paul Anderson. Also, Paul Anderson.
Yeah.
All right. So my hipster thing of the week is finding a book that's been out of print for 20 years.
Yeah. You're gonna need a flannel shirt to find it.
Yeah, I'm like, that's my goal now. I have to find this book. Like I couldn't find it online, but I'm like, I know there's a couple bookstores. Somebody's got to have it. So that's my hipster thing of the week. Finding a book that's been out of print for 20 years.
So do you like really wistful music? Because I used to love that shit.
Yeah, I love all music.
Well, no, wistful music.
Like, give me an example.
So I used to really like. So I think part of why I started like Mumford and Sons and like all that type of music was because, so like when I was married and stuff, and like I wasn't happily married, but like I wasn't like sad either. And I had all these like, not cheating, but like inappropriate relationships where I was like really about somebody else. And so I like really like wistful music, like stuff that's like sort of like longing, like where you're happy, but like you're happy about like a temporary situation, or you're happy about something that you can't really have, like that sort of thing.
Right.
That's so I remember when I started dating Kelly, this whole library of like wistful songs like on my phone, and then I was like, I can't really relate to any of these songs anymore. This is all bullshit.
Right. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I like them.
Yeah. So, although interestingly though, now I really still like Mumford and Sons, but like when I listen to the same songs, I sort of take them differently. But it's like it's the same songs and the same words. I just take the message differently when I listen to them.
Yeah. Most music is made for interpretation.
Yeah.
So
I think I focus on like different parts of the songs now that I like.
Like there's one song by this artist Craig Finn, who's also the lead singer for the Hold Steady. It's he wrote it. It's called Terrified Eyes, and like where some people take about some people it's one of his upbeat songs, and some people think it's about depression, while others think it's about keeping trying. So it's like really, it's always, most music is open to interpretation, unless the band tells you like, no, this is what the song's about.
Yeah, my favorite line in any song ever is from I Will Wait. And I generally, I just can't, I like with the pressure now, I can't think of it, but I decided to look up the lyrics now, although I generally, I think, can say them without looking at them. It's now I'll be bold as well as strong and use my head alongside my heart. So take my flesh and fix my eyes, a tethered mind free from the lies. I think it's an awesome. Although honestly, like every verse in that song is pretty awesome. But no, and then there's definitely a few Mumford & Sons songs now that I didn't like before that I do like that I never even listened to before that I think are awesome now.
Yeah. What song? I Will Wait.
Yes, yeah. Um, but no. So your greatest musician ever thing made me think of Jim Thorpe, who I had learned this story before, but we were passing by Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, this weekend, so it made me think of the story. So Jim Thorpe was one of the like original like modern Olympians.
Right.
I forget
he's an Indian or
Yeah,
Native American.
Yeah, I think he is. So in 1904, 1908, one of the really early Olympians, and I could be getting this story wrong, just you might have been getting your other story wrong, but I'll tell you the gist of it, and you can look up the facts. So he's one of the early Olympians, and he won the decathlon in the Olympics that he competed in. You know, which generally the title of the Olympic decathlon winner is the greatest athlete in the world because it's 10 disciplines basically where you're better than everyone else.
Decathlon is like the Hannibal from the A-Team.
Yeah,
he's not a good fighter. He's not a great fighter. He's not a great talker. He's not that crazy. But he's just good enough to get by on everything.
Exactly. So yeah. So the official title of the decathlon winner is the greatest athlete in the world for the Olympic decathlon. So when Jim Thorpe won the decathlon, I believe it was the king of Sweden at the time, sought out Jim Thorpe to basically to announce him as the greatest athlete in the world, because he was so impressed with him. So years later, Jim Thorpe dies. Jim Thorpe's from somewhere else in the United States. Jim Thorpe dies. This little town in the mountains in Pennsylvania buys his body, buries it there, and then changes the name of the town to Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania.
It's a great little town.
Jim Thorpe was never there. I don't know that he was ever in Pennsylvania.
Right. Yeah. So you learn about when you go to Jim Thorpe, you learn about the history of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's real sketchy. Like I stayed at the Jim Thorpe Inn.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. With the Voldemort of my life. What's his name?
Voldemort.
Voldemort. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Voldemort of my life. The woman that shall never be named.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a great town. Like there's whitewater rafting, there's biking, there's the world's greatest cheesesteak place,
and
it was a mediocre cheesesteak place.
Yeah,
yeah, it was like Jim Thorpe's cheesesteaks. the cheesesteak Jim Thorpe would have ate. Like
Jim Thorpe never had a cheesesteak in his life.
No, not only did Jim Thorpe never have a cheesesteak, he's the world's greatest athlete. He would never eat a cheesesteak.
But yeah, we went to this. So we went to this thing up the mountains this weekend. So we went to a lantern festival. So sounds cool. Like you see the pictures of it. There's all these lanterns in the air, and it looks magical.
They did look cool.
Terrifying. So
why? Because you have flaming lanterns falling back to Earth.
Well, most of them don't get off the ground. So yeah. So we went. A bunch of Kelly's friends were getting there. It was from 3 to 11. So actually, I took off on Saturday to go to this. I'm still working Sunday, so now we're going to a place 2 hours away that ends at 11 o'clock at night. So I wasn't super happy about that, but like all Kelly's friends wanted to show up for 3. They were all gung-ho about it. Kelly was like, I don't know, let's get there like when it gets dark. Like I don't know. I mean, to sit there for like 6 hours before that. So we left a little later. We stopped at the Lehigh Valley Mall. That was pretty cool. Although there was like no central food court, which really threw me.
Why did you stop at the mall?
We figured we knew we were gonna stop at some mall on the way there, and that was one that was like the first sign we saw.
Oh, is that what she was texting me about in the group text? I text you guys on Friday, like you guys haven't brought anything back lately, and she's like, oh, but we're gonna go to some other mall, and I'm like,
yeah,
wow, she's real excited for something so silly.
No, that was our plan to go to like a new mall. So,
relationships.
Yeah, But that was one of the but one of the considerations maybe to stop at Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. But we weren't passing that close to it. It definitely would have been a little bit out of our way.
You stop there for a 30-minute tour, and then you're like, all right, see you later.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the possible plans. But yeah, so one of my favorite places in the world is any mall food court.
You can get Chinese,
you
American,
can get whatever you want. It's
Japanese, sushi,
and then you're done, and then you can go shopping, and it's great. I don't know. I definitely have a lot of mall memories because like when I was a kid, I would go with my grandparents to the mall all the time. So like, the Neshaminy Mall like near here is like my favorite. It's this tiny little mall, but it's like really bright and open. I just remember going there as a kid all the time. It's really like a pretty shitty mall, like as far as actual the amount of stores that are there, but I don't know. So I just really like go to that's like one of my happy places, especially the mall food court.
Well, did you ever hear the guy who invented the idea of the mall?
No.
He hated the fact that he invented the mall because he wanted the mall to be like a get together town center sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what the food court is.
Yeah, and and he was like, this is not what I envisioned whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, it's, I mean, what did you do before malls? You had to go to all kinds of different stores to get all the shit you needed. Sounds terrible. But anywho, yeah. So we stopped at the Lehigh Valley Mall, and it was strange because there was no central food court. At the end wings, there were like a couple food places in each place. It was really strange. And we couldn't find a bathroom either. Apparently, the people of the Lehigh Valley don't really eat that much, and they don't go to the bathroom because these things were hard to find. But anyway, so we finally got up there around like 5:00 up to it was at the Pocono Raceway.
Oh, by the way, when
Yeah.
you live with Crohn's, you know exactly where every bathroom is.
Well, you would have. So when we're getting there, then there was this huge line to get in, and Kelly was like about to pee herself the whole time. So we're like running to get to like the porta potties, as soon as we actually parked. But so we get there. So it's this huge field. It's like already pretty chilly. That was before the sun even went down. There's all these fire pits laid out that people are like gathered around, but there's no fires yet for some reason. They had some like really shitty bands playing, and the people organizing were like, oh, we can't start the fire pits until the bands are done for some reason. I guess they're really bad, so they didn't want people to throw flaming wood at them. I don't know. And what they did is they had like big stacks of like those easily burnable logs, right. and they basically had them in the corner, and you couldn't get yours until.
Were they for sale?
No.
Okay.
They were giving them out, but you couldn't get them until after the bands were done. So like I'm looking around and I see all these guys coming out of the woods. There was like a big line of woods right next to it, coming out of the woods with like bundles of like sticks and stuff. So they had to make multiple announcements like, please stop foraging in the woods for firewood. Like,
so there's a bunch of me's out there like, no, fuck it, I'm totally starting a fire.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. All these guys are just walking back and forth, just gathering firewood, just stripping the trees, like loading up their fire pits with wood. So like every 5 minutes, between every song, they make an announcement like, please stop foraging in the woods. Please stop lighting your fire pits. We're not allowed to light the fire pits yet. Yeah. The fire marshal's here. He said we're not allowed to light the fire pits yet. Yeah. And everyone totally ignored it. But the way they got back at everyone was the way that you got your actual like good burnable like logs was that there was a ticket on the bottom of your fire pit. So all the people that lit fires had to like pick up their burning fire pits to like get the ticket off the bottom if they wanted to get more wood without having to go forage for more of it. So I thought it was a pretty funny solution.
Yeah, it's smart. What I did something not that this Saturday. It's more of a bathroom story than what I did. Oh. So have you ever been to the Keswick Theater?
No.
It's the first time I ever went to the Keswick Theater. All like the shows I've seen. It's the first time I ever go Keswick, and I've always heard like great things. And it's like just a dumpy old theater.
Yeah,
it like really is a dumpy old theater.
Huh.
But I liked it. It like had charm, and it had the old style like German buildings, and it's in Glenside. So I guess that's outside of like the older, like it's not in Philadelphia County, but it's right outside the older parts of Philadelphia. So like we're still in Philadelphia, and you're like no. So we go there. and we saw a sneak preview and a Q&A from the show Nathan For You,
Okay,
which
yeah.
is he's very awkward. So the first guy that went up there, he was like, "Yeah, I'm part of Pike fraternity," and people booed him. And every time he said something, like they would just boo him even more,
Oh.
because like Nathan was like, "Oh, I read about Pike before. They're known for rape," and like, and then the second lady, she was like super cool about everything. Uh, he had her up, and they were talking. He was asking her questions, and he did his awkward stick, and it was funny. And she played along, and it was real good. And then the third guy was some douche who tried to go like toe for toe, like he tried to like outsmart him or be more funny.
Uh,
And like this guy is a professional comedian.
uh,
You just learn, just you should know.
yeah.
Never try to go toe for toe with a comedian or like he's like a great writer.
Mm.
Never try to go for it. Like you will get outplayed every single time. So like he embarrassed himself.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, after 2 hours of that, I had to go pee, and they only had like three stalls upstairs, and everything.
Mm.
So I told Dave, I'm like, hey, when we were parking, like maybe 200 feet away, I saw a bunch of porta potties.
Mm.
So I'm gonna go out there and go pee. So like right after the show, like I walked out there, I avoided all the lines, and I peed in a porta potty.
Mm.
And Dave and the other guy we were with, he's like, "Oh, that's great thinking. You really just remembered that." I was like, "Well, you always look for your bathrooms, exits and bathrooms."
Yeah.
And I just spotted it, and then like as I'm like finishing up, I walk out. There's like a massive people like running towards the porta potties, and I was like, I'm so glad I got here so quick because they were like brand new, clean porta potties.
Nice.
It was like the
I can't
best
even
night
imagine.
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna start taking pictures, like selfies in the porta potty. Like, look how clean.
Yeah, I was pretty sure when we got to the Pocono Raceway that we were gonna have to leave because Kelly like won't use the porta potty. That's all that was there.
Right.
But like she had to pee that bad that like she went.
Oh,
But,
that's crazy.
but she like went in and came back out and then like waited for a better one. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah. There's like certain things like she's clean, but I'm a germaphobe.
yeah,
Like but when it comes to taking a dump, I'll poop anywhere. I don't care.
yeah. I'm not not a germaphobe, obviously.
Obviously not.
but so there's Lantern Festival, right? So
Oh, we're still on that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We haven't even made it to the lantern
Oh,
part.
no,
We
yeah.
just talked about firewood and
That's it.
and peeing in a porta potty.
That was all prequel.
Yeah. Check out the Keswick if you ever can.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by the Keswick Theater.
Not by the Pocono Mountain Raceway though, or whatever. It's, but the so if you've never been to a Lantern Festival, you just see the pictures of all the lanterns up, and it looks like, oh yeah, you just like you put your lantern up in the air and it flies away. It's not what happens. It's a mini hot air balloon. It's very hard to operate. Very hard to set up.
Do you all get your own lanterns?
Everyone gets their own lantern.
Okay. How much is free or cost money? Or?
Yeah, we had to get tickets to go in. It wasn't like, it was like the price of like a cheap concert. Like it wasn't outrageous, but it wasn't like.
It seems nice on paper, like seems like nice and
Yeah.
romantic, and then you have to do it with Kelly's friends, and then
So many of the lanterns like just already had a little hole in them, so they wouldn't fly. Setting them up, you had to like be perfect, or they would get a little hole in them, and they wouldn't fly. Lighting the fuel source, it was easy to burn a hole in the side, then they wouldn't fly. So I mean, there were 17,000 people there. I would guess like a quarter of their lanterns got up in the air.
I would have eventually just thrown it into the fire.
That's what happened. So my lantern went up, and and Kelly's friend's mom lantern went up out of like 9 of us, and they were the only 2. I drew 2 dinosaurs on mine since Sam wasn't there. Although I think Sam's the only kid that would have liked it, because all the other kids were terrified. So what it is? So the lantern's like maybe like 2 feet high when you stretch it out. Like it's actually pretty big. And it's like made of like a flimsy like tarp, like a flimsy like tarp paper. And what you have to do is, and the day was like a mildly windy. Like probably if it were a perfectly still day, this would be a little bit easier. But it wasn't like a super windy. It was a little bit of wind. So you have to first draw whatever you want on it, or like write whatever you want on it, and not rip it somehow. And then after you do that, you have to unfold it. In this case, in the wind. And then in the wind, there's a piece of there's like a cardboard square, like maybe like 3 inches by 3 inches, that's tied by string to the bottom of it. You have to light that fairly inflammable piece of cardboard on fire with a tiny lighter that they give you in the box. And then while that thing's on fire, hold on to the flaming piece of cardboard, put it on the ground, hold the lantern down on the ground so other air doesn't get in, so it can fill with hot air while you're holding the sides and the top of the lantern out. So you need like 6 hands to do this. Because if the sides of the lantern fall in a little bit, then they're going to get burned and they're going to get a hole and it's not going to work. So you have to somehow hold it out, hold it down, keep the fire going, and let it fill with hot air for some unspecified amount of time. And then when the magical time's right, you pick it up and you let it go. And for the most part, it flies completely sideways, and this flaming ball smashes into somebody else's head 10 feet away from you. That's what happened repeatedly. So you're trying to do all this while you're dodging other people's fireballs. And when I say fireball, I mean fireball. Like flaming lanterns were flying parallel to the ground all around you.
What was it made of? All paper?
Yeah, it was like a thick paper.
So what you're saying is you light cardboard on fire, right?
Yeah.
And you let paper fill with hot air.
Yeah.
Let it fly.
Yeah.
Burn out. Land into the forest.
So there was a line of trees. And
so what you're saying is the guys who were foraging for sticks were helping so the fire didn't spread.
Likely. So I saw at least a dozen lanterns that went up in the air but not high enough, and they crashed into the tree line. And there was a burning fireball in the trees. There was a whole line of them. Like they definitely couldn't do this in like a drier season.
Oh, New Jersey, that would. No wonder I don't see any in New Jersey because it would be illegal.
Yeah,
we're always completely dry.
Well, so mine actually, I got started. It was pretty good. I lifted it up. It started to go up, and then like the wind knocked it back down. And I'm like running as fast as I can after it, and it smashes into the back of some teenage girl, almost set her on fire. I like ripped it off of her, and then I like put it back on the ground. I do it again. It goes up, hits somebody else. I do it a third time. So I'm like, this fucking dinosaur balloon's getting up in the air. I do it a third time. The third time, it goes up. And again, I was like the only one besides one of Kelly's friends' moms that like got it up. And then I was trying to help the kids with theirs. A couple of them smashed into people. A couple we just burnt holes in the side by accident because it's like so ridiculously hard to do. Kelly's one friend got hit with somebody else's and singed part of her hair off. Allison was terrified the whole time. She was crying. She was like holding on to people because she didn't want us to all like burn to death. Because I mean, I can't like describe it enough that like there were flaming fireballs flying through the air at face level all around you.
Sounds horrifying.
Yeah. So.
And the presenters are like, thanks for coming out. We can't wait till next year. Like, pass. Hard pass.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe if it was a totally windless day, if it was like totally 100% calm, like it probably could have been done.
Also, if this was in the middle of July, the entire forest would have caught on fire.
Yeah, well,
if it wasn't for 4 days of rain previously, then it would have been, fucked.
Well, I think they take that into consideration because I think it's one organization that does the lantern festivals, and the one they did during the summer was in the city. So probably because it doesn't matter as much there.
Right. I think the only like reasonable place to have a lantern festival is on the beach. Because
it probably work there.
If flame
Yeah.
hits the sand, it'll just go out. If flame hits the water, it'll just go out.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
If flame goes in someone's house, then, that's their house, but whatever.
Yeah, well, Allison was freaking out too. We were trying to light somebody's, and then like we picked it up and like the grass was on fire underneath. It's like the grass is on fire. Like it's fine, don't worry about it. But yeah, 2 or 3 people's I had to stomp out. One person's like smashed into me, and in general there was pretty good etiquette. Like you saw people running after theirs trying to like not kill anyone else.
Yeah.
But the one that smashed into me on fire, I picked off. And like I was looking around for who was gonna grab it, and like whoever just didn't give a fuck. They just let it go and walked away.
It's the one guy sitting there texting like, oh
Yeah. so I tried to like get it back in the air because I'm like someone did because it had a whole bunch of writing on it, and I was like, someone did some work on this. I'm gonna try to get it in the air, and so I put it down for a minute and I let it go and it smashed into somebody else, and I was like, fuck it, nobody else is coming to claim it. I'm stomping this one out too.
Yeah. Saturday, beautiful weather.
Yeah.
Here in the Northeast, terrible weather down in Florida.
Yeah.
So yesterday, I text my mom. I'm like, "Hey, Mom, how's everything going?" Because she lives right on the coast in Florida.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Not good. I'm at your grandmom's. I'm at your grandmom's. Like, my grandma lives like in an assisted community.
Yeah.
And it's like hurricane proof. Like,
Okay.
it's a hurricane proof building. Like
Yeah.
poured concrete with rebar and all that other stuff. And I was like, how's your trailer?" And she's like, "Not good." And I was like, "What's wrong with it?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know what happened to it, but
It's not there anymore.
Yeah. And then and I was like, "Oh, sorry to hear that. That sucks." And she's like, "Oh, I guess so." She's like, "Oh, I'm not dead, so that's cool."
Yeah.
So I text her today. I'm like, "How's everything going?" I went to the wrong trailer park. Trailer's fine. No electricity. The electricity.
What did she went to
out.
the wrong trailer park?
Yeah.
Like she doesn't know where she lives?
No, it was storming so bad. There was
Yeah.
like no signs. All the lights
Okay.
were out and everything. She said like you couldn't see, like she forgot her medicine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "How do you forget your medicine?" And then she was telling me, she's like, "I forgot my medicine. I went to the wrong trailer park. That trailer park was gone."
Yeah.
Like she saw one trailer, it was like flipped over on the side, and then the footings that the trailer like were flipped, like ripped out of the ground.
Wow.
And like these are like 600-pound footings.
Yeah.
So like the trailer took it with it, and then like the footings went somewhere else.
Wow.
And so it was crazy. And I was like, "Well, what happened with your medicine?" And she's like, "Well, I explained to the doctor at the community, and he's like, I'll prescribe you medicine." And like they gave her the medicine she needed. I was like, "Oh, what?"
No, I had a call today from one of the primary doctors that we had that they had somebody that was like a part-time patient that lives in Florida part of the year that had to flee the hurricane, and they needed catheters, and we like just gave them a big bag of catheters because they were like fleeing the hurricane basically.
Yeah. At what point do you just have to go, "Well, it's not even worth the money. Here's your stuff."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what a lot of people were doing.
Yeah.
I think the doctor actually came over and picked them up herself for the patient. So
Cool.
but no, I was watching. I was at work Sunday, and Sunday morning I was watching the news while I was eating breakfast, and it was crazy because they were sort of going like area by area, and they were broadcasting, and they were like, and they're basically, okay, anyone in Florida that's watching this, these handful of counties are going to get hit with the worst part of the storm next. And they were like, and it was crazy what they were saying, that, they're basically like, the winds are going primarily northwest, so you want to make sure you're on, like the southeast part of your home, but wherever you are, don't get too hunkered in place because you're going to want to be able to move because, the northwest windows of your house are going to break. But then the wind's going to whip around, and the windows on the other side of your house are probably going to break too. So like you're going to need to move quickly throughout your house if you're still in your house.
Right.
But I don't know.
Blow your nose.
It doesn't matter. I'm actually getting over a cold. I was like super stuffy last week. It comes right back.
Yeah. So it's crazy. I really want Trump to come because the next tornado or hurricane that's coming in is Jose. And like, I really want Trump to get confused and be like, "I told you Mexicans are going to come and destroy this land." It's like, no, it's a hurricane. And like, he doesn't get it. He just thinks it's a Mexican hurricane.
Yeah. So I, one meme account I follow, it was like a little weird. It was just like a general, like funny meme account on Instagram. And then they like went private and they post a lot of weird stuff now. But they're still like pretty funny, so I still follow them. But they he posted for 2 or 3 days, he was posting all hurricane memes. I didn't really know how I felt about it. Like it was clearly like disrespectful to the whole situation. But
Super disrespectful.
But like I feel like he's making a point, like, that he could do that like, you don't have to follow him, that like his meme page. I don't know. I know how I felt about it. Like, I mean, I wouldn't do it personally, But like seeing somebody else do it, I don't know. I didn't stop following them for it. Like I didn't think any of them were funny, but no, no, that was interesting. It's not gonna help.
Just blow your nose. It could help.
I feel super weird using a handkerchief. Do you have regular tissue?
You go get one.
Where
there's
they at?
paper. There's toilet paper in
I can use
in the
that.
bathroom.
All right. Can continue without me.
Yeah. Okay. So today, which this won't be posted because we're working on posting more frequently, and it's mostly my fault. So today is September 11th, and September 11th in 2001. I remember exactly where I was. It's crazy. I was telling some guy at work today. It was crazy. I went to gym. I think I was like in the 8th or ninth grade. 8th grade, I went to gym. Then I had a homeroom. We watched this stupid thing on Channel 1, like news, about gorillas in Africa. I don't remember what that was. Then I went to another class, and then I went to Mr. Potter's history class.
I didn't wash my hands.
All right, I'm telling a story here.
Yeah.
I went to Mr. Potter. It was my third period. I went to Mr. Potter's history class, and he's a very fun-loving, jokey kind of guy, and he was silent. And he's like, "Look, we're just gonna sit in class silent, and we're gonna listen to the radio." And people were like, "Ooh, what's going on?" And he's like, "A plane hit one of the Twin Towers, and then another plane hit the other tower, and one just collapsed." And we're like, and we're listening to the radio, and everyone's panicking. No one has anything to do. So we go to the fourth period, and the teacher's like in tears, and she's like, "I don't know what to do." She's like, "This is ridiculous. Like, my son's in New York. I can't get a hold of him." And
geez.
in 2001, so cell phones are pretty much, the little brick phones, and like like in the middle of New Jersey, my phone didn't even work, and I was like, "Oh God, I don't know what's going on."
Yeah, I think I'm sure all the circuits are like
Yeah,
blocked
I was
up
like
by that point.
13 years old, and so there's like by around 11 o'clock, lunches are starting to happen. Everything, the superintendent calls every single person into like the auditorium. And he's like, "Okay, if you haven't heard, there's a terrorist attack in New York. They think like 3,000 people are dead. Both buildings have collapsed. This isn't good. School's dismissed." And we're like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, just go home." And we're like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, just go home. I don't, we're trying to call parents or not. I'm gonna go home." And like,
I'm out.
Yeah, he's like,
I don't know what you guys are doing.
he's like, half the teachers have gone home. Just go home. So we go home. We have no idea what's going on. Then I start watching the news, and then the next day, like, we get call, like an automated call, like, school will be closed Wednesday, September 12th. I'm like, that's awesome. And then it didn't. It took a few years to, like, for the gravity of that situation to hit me. Like, oh, it was devastating. Like, the older you are, like, it's devastating to see that. And the only other event in history, in American history, where that was, like, Pearl Harbor, which is still, I guess, not celebrated but remembered. December 7th, and like September 11th is the same thing. And then what gets me is people could say whatever they want about conspiracies and everything, and Pentagon probably conspiracy because there's no plane parts, but for me to believe that the American government shot two planes into a building is like beyond belief. Like that was not a conspiracy.
Yeah.
And then, but they could have used that as a cover up to blow up part of the Pentagon anyway, because there was no plane parts.
Yeah.
But that's today, and I remember, and I'll never forget where I was and what was happening, how I was feeling, and how confused I was about that day.
So I think the situation is a little different for me because I was a couple years older. I was, I guess I was a junior in high school, or maybe it was a senior in high school. I might have been a senior in high school. Because how old are you now?
28.
So I'm 5 years older. So I must have been a senior in high school.
Yeah, probably because I think I was in 8th grade.
Yeah. So I'm senior in high school, and I also went to an all boys prep school. So, it's like all shirt and tie and blazer every day, like that sort of school. So I remember when it happens, We watched. We brought out TVs and we actually watched in one of the classes, like when like the second plane happened and all that stuff. And then they sort of assembled everyone out in the courtyard, and like the headmaster there spoke to everybody and talked about it. And I think it was a lot different, especially again being an all boys school, because we're all 17, 18-year-old boys. We're all like draft age boys, and here's this like military action,
Right.
and a lot of us are, and we're like, we're all going to college and stuff. So we're all like future military officers basically at this point, is like sort of like what everyone's thinking, and I remember, so, and they even, the headmaster addressed that in the speech there, even about, about like, what could this mean for all, all the, like the young men there basically, if this turned into like a bigger conflict. And I remember I drove one of my friends home, who, and like we talked, and like he talked a lot about like sort of how pissed off he was about it, about everything, and about like, he wanted to join the military at that point. And he actually went into the Navy. He's in the Navy now. He's in Australia actually. And I think he was already leaning that way, but a lot of it was like that day.
Right. Makes sense. A lot of people signed up that day.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah. It was just, I think being a little older, it was a bigger deal.
One thing they made real choppy, like especially Michael Moore made real choppy, was that they showed the video of President Bush at the time. Like I think he just started as president. I think what he was a year in
2000. Yeah. Black tip.
They're like, look at him. He gets told and he stays in the classroom and his book's upside down and everything. Well, he's in front of like kindergartners or first graders, right? And he's reading a child's book, and his book was upside down, but he's reading the book and he puts the book down, like he's like dumbfounded. He's like, what?
Yeah.
And then like he picks up the book, like stares, like his jaws dropped, like, and he has to finish this class visit knowing there's a terrorist attack, because he can't just start panicking in front of first graders, and people make fun of him for that. Like, look, his book's upside down, he doesn't react, and I'm like, that's exactly how I would react too. Like, pretend I'm still in the room, but obviously not in the room, because you can't have a bunch of people like panicking that have no idea what's going on.
Honestly, at the time, I remember thinking, the rest of Bush's presidency, not so much, but that initial period, I thought he was the bright guy for the time. Like, he was the Southern cowboy who was like, you're with us or you're against us.
Right.
Like, this is bullshit. We're not standing for this. And I thought that was like exactly what needed to be. I thought he said everything that needed to be said at the time.
And I feel like his war, the rest of the wars and everything, were like the war on drugs. It's something that was vocal, but didn't really end up doing anything.
Yeah, you kind of wish somebody else had managed it, but I like the things he said at the time.
Yeah, he was great. And then they have him with like the mission accomplished, but the war kept going.
Yeah,
and then there was a lot of controversy because Dick Cheney's Halliburton and like all these other presidential cabinets, like they're like, oh, they're spending money and making everybody rich. So I really feel like if they didn't, like, there was all these controversies, like, oh, his father started the war and he just wanted, like, if there wasn't controversies, like, I think public opinion of him and those wars would have been a lot higher.
The thing that really drove me crazy through all that was, and I remember watching when they invaded Iraq, and the Fox News coverage was really good at the time, because they were, they obviously were for the war.
Yeah, everyone stood together. Like, for 2 years.
Yeah,
it was like when the Phillies won the World Series. Like, everyone stood together.
Yeah,
and for 2 years. And then after that, everyone starts fighting again.
Yeah, I'll never forget Shepard Smith, the Fox News anchor. He was, I swear, he was on 24/7 for weeks. He would he would go from his show to like the wee hours of the morning, like broadcasting, like basically live streaming the war. And he talked, and they had embedded journalists, and he talked to them all the time. And you could tell he was like tired, like he was on the air so much, but like just the concern for the soldiers that he had there. The couple embedded journalists he talked with all the time. I remember a couple of times there was like shelling around where the journalists were, and you could see how freaked out Shepard Smith was. Like one of them was going to get hurt. It was very much more human than like the current Fox News.
Yeah.
That where they, with all the controversy they have and all the nonsense now. And I remember when they like crossed like the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, like it was like this really historic thing. I remember staying and watching it all. I remember with Shepard Smith. I remember there was one time he was actually off for the night, and then like he just showed back up again. It was like and he didn't really explain it. He was just back. He was like he just couldn't stay away.
Right. I think I was glued to the TV for a year.
Yeah.
Watching that because it's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the thing that drove me crazy about the war though was that we didn't need the fake justification, like the whole weapons of mass destruction thing. Like for me, like I mean, Saddam Hussein was clearly an evil dictator,
right.
and okay, sorry, go ahead.
You bring that up, like, and that's one of my favorite things to read about. Evil dictator, but he kept everyone under wraps.
Mm-hmm.
And once he died, tons of wars, and everyone, all these different factions are fighting, and Syria, Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, everyone's fighting. But when he was in the Middle East, he didn't stand for that shit.
True, but the thing that drove me crazy. I mean, like he murdered his own people. Like we have evidence that he murdered his own people. We have evidence that he murders people with chemical weapons. He defied UN resolutions. Like he basically said "fuck you" to the UN like every day. So all we needed to say as a country and as a coalition, because at the time we had a bunch of other people with us, was like, hey. Like just like Ned Stark style, like the charges, he murdered his own people and he defied the UN. We're swinging the sword and he's done, and this is how it is. But instead, we had to make up this fucking weapons of mass destruction story. Why? Why do we need that story?
He was in that area a weapon of mass destruction. You don't need to have a nuclear weapon or a weapon of mass destruction to put fear on your people. Like he's killing hundreds of thousands of people. Anybody who didn't vote for him, which there's only him. Anybody who spoke out against him, any journalist, anybody, and you know what I mean? That you're right. Like that's enough to go. Like, hey, you're under arrest.
Well, that's what I mean. But this is like, I mean, that's where things really unraveled. That's really where all the dissent came from. Was that we had this stupid bullshit story that we didn't even need in the first place. And then all the dissent came out like, oh, we're just doing it to get the oil there. And there was no weapons of mass destruction. Whereas if we just had the hard line, like, well, he's just a bad guy and we're going to take care of him.
Right.
Like, I mean, people could disagree with that, but that's very different than saying, well, you lied about it. That's a whole different scenario.
He's one of those people that like you take out, like up front, you're like, we get rid of him. You make the world a better place.
Mm.
But all in all, it made the world a worse place when you take, because he ruled that area with such an iron fist, and everyone was so afraid of him and what he would do because he had such a powerful army and he wasn't afraid to use it. Is that like everyone fighting over there now is because he's gone.
Well, the problem is you need a plan for the peace, and that's where we fail time and time again. I mean, that's why World War II happened, because we won World War I and then we lost the peace. That's really the difference, right? Because if you compare and I guess it really goes back to, I guess the whole problem in the Middle East go back to World War One, because World War One happened. Instead of trying to rebuild the world, we decided we were going to punish the people that started the war. So we leveled Germany to a state that then Hitler was able to happen. The European powers carved up the Middle East in these fake countries that we still have trouble with today, rather than trying to understand the area.
Europe and Russia.
Yeah. But then compare it to World War II, where you had rebuilding, where you tried to, sort of take at least Western Germany. You tried to take in and understand the plight of the German people under this dictator and rebuild the lost countries. And we saw the humanity of of the nuclear bombs, and we said, well, we're now okay, well, we showed what we can do, and now we're going to try to rebuild Japan, and we're going to be friends with them now. When you saw the difference, and it's been 70 years since we had another war like that versus 20 years between the first two world wars because we lost in the peace. Yeah. And that's what happened here again. We easily beat the Iraqis, and it's been shit since then.
In 90 and 2005, But the thing is, who's warring with who, and who's policing that war? That's everybody. Yeah. Everybody has their own opinions on about why America's doing what and everything. And when it comes down to it, is we didn't really plan anything out.
That's what it seems like. I don't know. But yeah, George Bush. Although now I feel like George Bush is pretty likable now. Like
oh yeah, him and Clinton going around raising money.
It's awesome.
Yeah. It's like the definition of a Democrat and the definition of a Republican going around like shaking hands and being together. It's like, why can't we all get along like that?
Well, that's what shows you it's all bullshit. Now they're not presidents anymore. It's like it's fine. Like all this shit people talking about how stupid George Bush was and all this other like super disrespectful stuff. And then like when there's those videos of him at Trump's inauguration, like he couldn't get the poncho on. Yeah. Like it was it's lovable George Bush. Yeah. He's awesome.
Like, I always would have hung out with George Bush. I would hang out with George Bush right now.
Yeah. But it's just so funny. Like if he would have done that when he was president, people would look like he's a fucking moron. He can't put a poncho on. And I was like, George Bush, he's great.
Yeah. But that's the thing though. If I was a world power, a leader of a world power, and I was against America, and I saw George Bush like at that time as him president, I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with that guy. Yeah. Because but now I'm like, oh my god, I would just pat him on his head. Yeah. He's so cute and cuddly.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Same. Like Obama was awesome after he's president. I don't know.
Obama was down in Houston serving meals with his wife.
Okay. He seems like he's probably like a pretty good guy. I don't know.
Right. He was down there serving meals. Like he just showed up. Yeah. And he was like, I'll serve meals. And I'm like, okay, Obama.
Yeah. I don't know. My favorite Bill Clinton thing recently was when the first time Hillary lost the election, when they were showing him on the news, and it was like there was some scandal in Nevada where they weren't letting the casino workers out to vote. And he just has like these female casino workers like basically flanking him, and he's basically like, I found out they weren't let these workers vote for my wife, so so it's fine. I got it fixed. They can go vote now. So, but he was clearly just there flirting with the casino workers.
Yeah. Did you see the second thing that Hillary's like camp got in trouble for? Like that's how powerful of a guy Clinton is. He lands his personal plane on a tarmac, talks to the FBI guy, shakes his hand, no one knows what, and then like the next day, like Hillary's cleared.
Huh?
Yeah. It's like, what did you just say?
I don't know. Oh, she came up with a book or something recently, right?
Yeah.
Basically like whining about why she lost the election.
Yeah, it's a book, and she reads it herself, and then she becomes in the book. She's like a victim.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, don't be a victim. Now, I didn't respect you before. Now I totally don't have respect for you. Like, and she reads it real robotically. Like, he was lurking behind me, and I didn't know why. And you're like, you're painting yourself. First, you can't read.
Yeah.
Second, you're painting yourself as a victim. You're a powerful woman. You're one of the most powerful women in the world. You ran for president and got pretty far in one of the most powerful country in the world. Don't paint yourself as a victim. Yeah. You just ruined the last 40 years you worked for women's rights and equality and everything. And now you're painting yourself as a victim behind Trump.
But that man was mean to her.
Who fucking cares? Men are mean to men. Men are mean to women.
Yeah.
Women, vice versa. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Don't paint yourself to be a victim. That's the last thing anybody wants to hear, you being a victim, because everybody else thinks they're a victim too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I actually saw some of my like more liberal friends on Facebook that like I, didn't really want to read their posts around the elections. A few of them posted things about how like about like basically like just to make it clear, we still hate Trump and here's the reasons, but we pretty much hate Hillary now too. And so I kind of liked all those posts because I was like, at that point I was like, yeah, I can agree with both sides of that now. I could do without either of them.
Look, what I'm about to say, if you don't agree with it, there's something wrong with you. Trump's not a good president.
Mm-hmm.
He's really not a good dude.
Yeah.
And I tried my best. I was like, I'll give him a chance.
Yeah.
And like he just screws everything up. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like there's no evidence that he's a good president or even a good dude for that matter.
Yeah.
But Hillary, be better than that. Don't be a victim.
Yeah.
Be a winner.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she couldn't. I mean, there's no way she would get another chance to run for president.
She's also 70. So.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other stuff she could do. I mean,
Right.
she could be. I mean, she's still really powerful. She could be.
Right.
She could be doing a lot of good things still.
She could be an ambassador.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
or head of ambassadors. I don't know if that's a thing.
She could be working for Trump now and trying to like write his administration.
Right.
She could be doing something in government now.
Right. And
Not like directly for him, but like something in government. Yeah.
I really think that she should be an ambassador to another powerful country.
Yeah.
Non-English country, like not England or not non England, France, Germany, Italy. None of those countries. Maybe an ambassador to Russia.
Yeah.
Something like that. Maybe an ambassador to Japan or South Korea. She's a powerful person. She knows how politics works. Why don't you try to fix the problems we have with other countries? You have the power.
Yeah.
Shit, you don't even have to do it for the government. You could just do it for the country. If you love the country, you're worth $300 million. Just spend the rest of your life trying to fix problems with the country. No one's going to tell you no.
Yeah.
People are only going to say, well, she doesn't speak for us or go Hillary. There's not like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's powerful enough. I'm pretty sure if she went to the current administration and was like, "Look, what can I do for you?" I'm pretty sure they'd find something for her to do.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know, all that putting her in jail stuff. We knew was bullshit from the beginning.
Right. She'll never go to.
Yeah.
When her husband shakes the former FBI director's hand, and he's like, "Case cleared," like you're never going to jail.
Yeah.
There's no reason why she can't just go, "What do you need us to do?" Like I said previously, look at Clinton and
Bush.
They just go around the country making sure everything's cool.
Yeah.
Like, is everything cool? Yep. Here's some money. All right, let's get out of here. Like they raise money, they do speeches, and like that's cool.
They need a reality show,
Yeah.
and that would be the best like buddy cop show ever. Clinton and Bush just travel the country, just like them in like a big van.
Yeah.
Just like alternating drivers.
Look, I'll give Obama 4 years. He needs some rest and relaxation. His hair's all gray now, but he was down south and he was feeding people meals.
It could be the A team if he joins that.
And I think he could join. He's powerful enough. He doesn't have to work the rest of his life.
Yeah.
He gets, I think, with his pension, he gets like, I don't know, like $110,000 a year.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. Plus all his book deals and everything. He could just pal around with them too. Like between those two, Obama and Miss Clinton, they could have a quadrifecta.
For real though, if some network came along and had a show where it was George W. Bush and Bill Clinton, and they gave him a van and they just traveled the country helping people, and like it was just them and the camera crew, and like I guess they have to have a Secret Service guy there.
It would be like real life A-Team.
Yeah, and they just like went like to small towns and like did shit for people. Like, what do you think the chances are it would be the highest rated show ever on television? I think it would 100% be the highest rated show ever on television.
Absolutely. I mean, they'd have to add some like simple life stuff in there where they'd have some scripted stuff.
Yeah.
Where like, like Bush like turns around.
Bush
like,
is Nicole Richie.
It's 100% on VH1 too.
Yeah.
Like Bush turns around and Bill's like eating a Snickers bar between like a waitress's breast. Like, he's like, like I really think like he's like, oh, she paid me. And, yeah.
I'm just picturing it. It's just so good.
The President Odd Couple.
Yeah, it'd just be great.
Yeah. Like, They're both in their 70s.
Yeah, they have like a thing. It'd be like that Grumpy Old Men movie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Grumpy Old Men, which were the original Odd Couple, but like they're
Yeah.
still like in the same movies.
Yeah, man. They could do like they get their hotel room every night and they do like a little wrap up segment of like what they learned or whatever, like something inspirational for America.
Like here's another episode. I'm gonna write these episodes myself. They go to a urologist. Right, they go to urologists together, and Bush gets like a catheter, and like they're like, look at this catheter, and like Clinton's like laughing at him, and then like they like pull out like Clinton's catheter, it's like twice as thick, and like his jaw drops, and like that's a great thing, We're ready for your practical exam, and like Clinton has like this small Asian
Yeah.
and then like Bubba Doctor comes out, he's like, I got you. It's great. Two old men, opposites, just traveling.
Be awesome.
Right. Clinton's driving himself for some reason.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, they have to drive. There has to be like the dashboard cam, and they're just like talking in the car.
Right. It'd be the best show ever on VH1 after Snoop and Martha.
Oh yeah. That'd be the best like 2 hours of television ever.
They should be on Snoop and Martha.
Yeah.
Bush would be on Martha, and then Clinton would be on Snoop.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then Clinton would just keep opening Snoop's fridge so that the music goes off.
He'd bring a saxophone on.
Oh, it'd be so great.
Yeah.
It'd be a 2-hour episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'd have to be.
Yeah. Bitches would come on.
Bill Clinton would disappear for the rest of the episode.
And they have Hillary's in the background, like all squinty eyed and mad and everything. It's like, oh, I'm 70 years old, whatever.
George Bush comes out, he's already high as fuck. He's like, his eyes are red.
Yeah. I think George Bush is sober now. Like he's been sober for 40 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But he would drink with Martha.
Yeah.
Who was 100% not sober.
No, never.
Yeah. Her drinks, I like drinking a good drink, but her drinks are too strong for me.
Yeah, the show. Yeah. If you So if anyone's ever watched the Snoop and Martha's potluck dinner, Martha Stewart's drinks are, she takes vodka, she fills an entire glass with vodka, and then she puts like a mint leaf on top.
Yeah,
and she's like, oh, it's a cocktail now.
We squeeze this lemon and then a sprig of thyme and stir.
And then she chugs it. And then she drinks like another one before the show's over.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure her drinks would kill me.
Yeah. Stir what?
One ice cube.
So, by the way,
Yeah.
guess what I saw last night?
What?
It.
Oh, really?
Oh, so scary. So, spoiler warning.
Yeah.
So, set the tone of the film. Oh, by the way, real quick before I get into that, I dropped my phone because I wear sweatpants shorts or gym shorts a lot, especially when I don't have to meet up with anyone. So my phone drops out like it always does into the seat.
Yeah.
Under the seat, and I turned to Sam and I go, I'm not reaching under the seat. I'll just buy a new phone, after watching it. So sets the point, the whole tone of the movie. And if you've read the book, then no spoiler, but spoiler for anybody who has not seen it.
I'm not a reader.
Or not read the book. But so this 6-year-old kid, he's goes up to the sewer, and he's trying to get his boat back because his boat went down the sewer, and he's talking to the clown and everything. This old lady goes out to her porch, and he's watching Georgie, who's the 6-ish-year-old kid, play in the sewer. And then, I was thinking that the old lady was going to come out and get out of here, go back to your thing. And right before the clown was about to do something, because that's how most movies are. They're very predictable, especially horror movies. No, the clown bites his arm off, and then pretty gruesome, 6-year-old, and then the kid screaming in pain, crawls away. The clown stretches his arm out, pulls him into the sewer. The old lady comes out to a pool of blood, and I was like, well, that set the tone of the movie.
Yeah. And
the movie was completely frightening the entire way through.
Yeah, so I'll never be able to watch it because Kelly will never watch it. Because we watched The Conjuring, which is not a particularly scary movie. and she like couldn't go to the bathroom by herself for like the whole rest of the night.
Yeah.
I'd like stand at the bottom of the steps. So, but yeah, no, it looks like a pretty good movie.
So I just realized this
Yeah.
entire episode was recorded real low. So good luck with listening.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Is it going to be listenable?
Yeah, definitely. You just have
Yeah.
to turn it all the way up.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, not like the one. The one was really low that we recorded.
The one was really low, but it also sounded like we were screaming into our mics.
Yeah. But oh, what? Where are we at time wise? I had that one other.
Oh, an hour and 4 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I'll just talk real quick about the other thing then. So before this, I was at the mall because, so my stepdaughter and like a bunch of her friends are going to Disney. We're not going because it's like a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
She's going with like Kelly's friends are going to take her. And yeah, so like it wasn't that bad money wise just to send her. But it was essentially like a vacation reveal party is what we had at the mall. So they're going in a few weeks. Most of the kids didn't know that they were going. So they did this scavenger hunt at the mall. So we went to like a few different stores, and then we got to the end of it. It was at the Disney store, and then they had their names up on the screen at the Disney store, and this like Disney employee came out and told them they were going to Disney. So like on the one hand, really cool.
That's also for children.
Yeah. But the other hand, like this is how jaded kids are now. Like just telling them that they're going to Disney is not exciting enough. like we needed exciting it up a little bit.
You're going to Disney. Okay, where's the fanfare?
No, dude, I have the video of it. They give no reaction. Like, which I don't know. I hope this never happens. I'm sure it'll happen. But like, Sam is not even 3 yet. So like when you give him like, like a dollar store dinosaur, like he flips the fuck out. These kids are like, oh, you're going to Disney for 10 days. They're like, huh. Like I have a minute and a half video of it. Like no reaction.
During the school year?
Yeah, well that's the other thing.
Oh yeah.
But
well, they're all still young enough they could probably catch up.
Yeah, I mean it's not the hugest deal, but it is like it is a little bit of a problem, but
I know adults with obsessions to Disney, and I never got it.
Well, that's what Kelly's friends go all the time. I've talked about it before. It's annoying. Like we're different places in life. Like we can't afford to go every year to Disney. We can't afford to send Allison every year to Disney. Much as we haven't gone because we can't afford for us to go, and then all of her friends go every fucking year. So like we're gonna well you can't go with all your friends. Like that's what we should do, but like we haven't done it yet.
Right. It's the cost is ridiculous. Like because you go to Disney, like you stay at the hotels. Every meal you got to eat out. Like when I go to Colorado for a week this year, we rented the 5 of us rented an Airbnb. One person's like, well, we stay in a hotel. They do. I was like, yeah, but an Airbnb, we can just go to an Acme or whatever and they have there and cook breakfast, eat lunch and everything. Go out here and there. We can keep a couple cases of beer or liquor or whatever in the fridge and right then and there, that saves you $300-400.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you have to eat out every meal, even if you just eat like a snack, whatever, you keep snacks and you only eat 2 meals, that's $300-400 on top of your vacation. But if you just buy $100 worth of groceries, split it 5 ways.
You can. It's so much. I think we talked about it before, but like, it's like I'm pretty frugal, but like, I still waste some money. Like Kelly was freaking out the other day because my salary being cut at like my main job. Although I got a little bit of it back today after arguing a lot. She was like, oh, how are we ever gonna get engaged and get married and all this stuff. And then like I added up like what I make in the average month, and I was like it's the amount of money I make is double like what we need just for bills.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you want to get engaged and married and everything, it just happens.
Yeah.
You don't have to like if you start planning that out and worrying about all that, like I need to get a ring, I need to get that. You don't have to get anything special. Just I learned the way you do it.
Yeah.
You
And you should all take advice from us on marriage.
Yeah. Well, no, my engagement was awesome.
Yeah.
You know the person. Like for my when I got engaged, she loved the beach.
Yeah.
She was a petite woman.
Yeah.
She loved her sister, and she had a best friend. So
Yeah.
what I did, like, I proposed to after a vacation in Jim Thorpe. I proposed to her on the beach. I already had like a dinner planned out. Her sister and her best friend came down for like a little like engagement party and everything, and it was like awesome. And it's like,
What did the petiteness have to do with anything?
oh, sorry, I got her a small ring. It wasn't like super gaudy. Like,
Yeah.
you have a small girl, you don't need a ring twice the size of her. And like I really think when it comes to getting engaged or whatever, it's not about a ring and making a. You have to know the person you're getting engaged to.
Yeah.
Like you have to show that you've listened to them. You know what they like and everything. It's
No,
not,
Kelly's definition of a basic white girl. It's all about the ring.
Oh, see, here's the thing. That's her.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, if she can't show it off, like so like you have to know the person you're marrying.
Yeah.
Like you have to know, and I'm like it was perfect. They knew exactly what I wanted, and like that's part of the engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you're just gonna get a ring, Uggs. You have to do it in the fall because there's a pumpkin spice something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No. Like if I if I get a ring she doesn't like, she's gonna return it.
Yeah. Where are my Uggs? Where's my North Face? Where's my pumpkin spice latte?
Exactly.
And on that note, that's the end of tonight's whole week Costa.